In 2005, we joined a group of resistance fighters in Mauritania called the Myricky. In 2006, we helped them move to a more secluded location under Berg de Rot, and also made contact with the Myricky group within Meyerditch, the slums of the vampire capital of Mauritania. Last time we were there, we completed a mission in finding a book on Hailkami for Safaland Hollow, the leader of the Meyerditch Myricky, and have been waiting for them to unlock the secrets within. Quest number 136, Legacy of Seergaze. We find an adventurer in full rune armor ready for a Berg de Rot ramble. Before we go, he says he saw something weird near Paterdomus and tells us to let Dressel know. He says he saw some people that wouldn't normally go in, 6 strange people, 3 of which appeared to be Zamorakian. We tell Dressel and he says that he hadn't noticed anyone, but he wouldn't have anyway since he's been working on restoring the underground portion of the temple. In so doing, he found a secret staircase leading to a columbarium. We ask what that is. He says it's a type of burial chamber. We say we'll check it out, and he also asks us to find out what the adventurer saw. We head to the main temple. It's still held and desecrated by the Zamorakians. We head to the top and find the people the adventurer was talking about. We jump out of sight before they notice us and listen. The Shrouded Man talks about the Gothixian edicts and that they're removing them soon. We accidentally make a noise, and they quickly teleport away after the Shrouded Man orders these two to stay and fight. We easily take them down, but they manage to teleport away. We find a page of a book and a glove. The page has a map of Misthalin with highlights on religious areas as well as a faint Zamorakian symbol. The glove is white with a Saradomin symbol on the back. We head back into the crypt and find the stairway that Dressel uncovered. It's a large area in the shape of a Saradomin star with funerary pyres in the center and small locked doors on the walls. A broken door catches our eye with a shining object in it. We investigate it and see it's a blood talisman. But there's no blood altar, right? We gotta get that open. We return to Dressel and tell him what happened. We tell him we surmise that even though the Zamoraki and Saradominists are working together, it seems unlikely that they're trying to ease tensions, as Gothixians would usually be mediating. There must be a reason that there's no Gothixian representation here, and we guess that it may be due to either them working against Gothics, or doing something that the Gothixians would try and stop. Since there's not much we can do for now, we go back and help the adventurer through the swamp, and he takes off his helmet. It's Ivan. Velias angry, and we ask why he's so protective of Ivan. He won't explain and says that he needs to be kept safe. We tell him the situation at Paterdomus and ask what kind of job he has for us. He says he has provisions for the Myricky and Meyerditch. When we get there, we'll need to help Safaland with some kind of weapon that will help us out against the Firewatch. We row over to Meyerditch and make our way through the slums using our shortcut key. We talk to Safaland, but he says he's busy and asks us to talk to Flagian. We give Flagian the provisions and ask him how his research is going. He's trying to find out what weapon to use against the Firewatch. He says the Hailkami book indicated that stronger Vyres like Firewatch have some sort of danger sense, causing them to be able to easily dodge incoming attacks they can see. We ask if we can help. He asks us to talk to the fighters and see if they know of any weapon that's difficult to predict. Kale Forshaw immediately thinks flail, but he mentions that an adventurer tried to use Verax flail against the Vyre and it didn't work. He thinks that may be because the type of metal it's made of, though. Flagian asks us to investigate into this. We look around the bed area and find a book about combat techniques in one of the bunks. It talks about various weapons, but we focus on the flail. I think this is what Flagian is looking for. We give him the book, and he tells us he has some field work for us. He gives us a hammer and nails, and he says he wants us to use the Rod of Avandis as a base and find some way to make it more powerful. One step of this process is furnace access, and we need it nearby if we're going to make more than just one. He's heard that there used to be a furnace nearby in Meyerditch, placed upstairs in the house to the north. We run to the northern wall and find a house, go inside, and use the nails and hammer Flagian gave us to make a crude ladder. We climb up, hop over some rooftops, and slam into this damaged wall. And then find what looks to have been the furnace at one time. Now it's crashed through to the bottom floor. We go down and mine away most of the debris, then light some coal into the furnace, restoring it. We tell Flagian, and he says we need to start converting the rod into a flail. First, we'll need a silver thrill chain. He's already produced a mold and it's stored nearby. He tells us to try to think of what to use for a head for the flail while we're making the chain. We grab some silver and mithril, a blessed sickle, and then grab the mold. We take all the items to the furnace and make the silver thrill chain. We give it to Flagian and show him the silver sickle. He thinks that with the strange shape, it'll be even more unwieldy, further increasing its effectiveness against the Vyres. He sends us to report to Safaland. Safaland introduces us to Andius Juip and Kale Forshaw. He says they've been thinking about exploring the laboratory we found. We head there, but something feels off. Safaland, Andius, and Kale were attacked. We go to them and they spring up and attack us. It was a prank. Anyway, we go to the door and saw open a crawlway. We head through and down a large tunnel, finding some zombified hands and mutated bloodvelds. We meet up with Safalan in a room with a strange magical aura. It seems to be emanating from the skull-shaped rock here. It feels familiar. We tell Safalan, but we're interrupted by Firewatch. Andius and Kel try to protect Safalan, but Andius is killed. We try our best to attack the Firewatch, but it's no use and they're clawing away at Safalan. All of a sudden, he starts to glow. And an explosion of energy scares away the Vyres. We lead him back to the blaze with Kale. Safalan asks to keep what happened with him quiet. He gives us a bunch of stuff that Flagian left for him and asks us to sort out the flail. We affix an emerald to the sickle, level 2 enchanted, and attach it to the rod using the chain, creating the Evandis flail. Safalan tells us to test it out. We exit the hideout and are stopped by a Firewatch. He takes a tithe, and we retaliate. The flail! It's working! We kill the Vyre, and we pick up its corpse, and we dump it on the table in front of Safalan. He tells us to report back to Veliaf and bring the corpse to Drezel. We tell Veliaf the news, and then head to Pater Domus. Drezel senses a soul within the Vyre corpse. We take it to the columbarium and cremate it. It leaves behind a key as it ascends. We use it on the locker with the blood talisman, and it opens. Drezel meets us down here and places a blessing over us. We report back to Veliaf, quest complete. Level 62 construction, and we get another XP book, which we of course spend all of it on 7.5k Herblore XP. We head back into the laboratory and use the blood talisman on the skull-shaped rocks we found. Sure enough, we found the blood runecrafting altar. Quest number 137, Perils of Ice Mountain. We find the delivery dwarf lackey at the base of the dwarven mine area. He's going to lose his job over a missing crate. He's supposed to deliver some spare parts to Drorkar's power station, powering Normof's pickaxe machine. Normoff being the dwarf who sells pickaxes in the mines below. We tell him we'll help get the crate. He says it must be on the road somewhere to the west. Somehow it was in this tiny bush. We peek into the crate and see it's some sort of egg. We deliver it to Drorkar. On the way we see what's powering his machine. Baby dragons. They're eating coal and then breathing fire into it. We give him the egg, and he asks us for us to take a letter to Brother Bordis at the Edgeville Monastery. The letter is unreadable to a human like us. We find Bordis, but he's taken a vow of silence. He takes and reads the letter and gets visibly angry and breaks his vow of silence. He believes Drorkar's machine is the work of a Zamarakian, saying it should never have been made, and it'll be a disaster. All of a sudden, the roses start dying. Brother Althrix thinks it's because it's getting too hot for them. We compost them and then save them by watering them. Then a gnome comes out of the sky. He demands to know how to get to the mountain, and then storms away once Althrix tells him. We go after him, and find out he's trying to catch baby ice fiends. He says the spirit tree told him they're at their heat tolerance and they're dying. He wants to take some to a colder climate. We catch up 4 of them and give them to Professor Arbelknap. All of a sudden, an earthquake shakes the mountain, and we're caught in an avalanche. We go and check on the Oracle. Her tent is destroyed. Fell right off the mountain. We go and grab it and fix it back up for her. All of a sudden, she sees a vision of all the snow and ice melting from every mountaintop and glacier, flooding Entrana and turning Varrock into a desert. She says somehow we need to find out how to stop this from happening. We blame it on the power station. We confront Drorkar and tell him to shut it down. He says he doesn't care about the Oracle's vision, and even if he did, Nermoff is the one who could make that decision. Before we go, we steal a tiny key from his pocket. We go to Normoff's pickaxe station and tell him to shut it down. He says he was warned about this by Bordis, who also told him he had an idea for a power source that wouldn't cause these problems. Drorkar and Bordis were supposed to present their ideas together, but only Drorkar showed up that day. We go back to Bordis. He says that night Drorkar and Bordis went out drinking, and Bordis got too drunk. He lost the key to his chest. His plans were in that chest. He took a vow of silence and sobriety to atone. He says the plans are still in the chest and in the mine. We show him the key we snuck from Drorkar, and he confirms it's his. He breaks his vows and tells us he'll meet us there. We go and find the chest and take the plans, showing some sort of windmill. We give the plans to Nermoff. They install the windmill and decommission the Dragonfire station. Quest complete. Quest number 138, Toxket Dill. The first quest involving the lava peoples of Moral Wreck. We run through the city, which looks awesome by the way, and find Tazar Herfrock with 2 guards and a cave-in. We ask what happened. One of the guards says a big creature dug tunnels into the city, and he's gonna kill it. They say it was a Toxket Dill, or obsidian armadillo. Many workers are trapped behind the cave-ins it caused. Normally, the Tazar hunt the armadillo for food. We ask why they don't just clear the rubble. They say it's because it's unstable, and they risk another collapse. The only entrance they found that they can get inside to stabilize it is too small for them to fit. We say we may be able to squeeze in. They ask us to kill the Dill as well. They tell us where to find the tunnel entrance. We find the crack and the guard outside won't let us in unless we have a Toxil-Im Tokket Hurt, and Tokjal Hurt. We ask what those are, and it grumbles and writes down a list of items written in their language. We head to the Tazar library. Inside we speak to the Lord and ask for help with their language. He says we'll need to look in the human section. It's filled with ashes. He says no, they're books. We ask how we're supposed to read them, and he says he doesn't know either. Apparently they haven't figured out that regular books burn into ash inside the volcano. Instead, we ask him to translate for us. He refuses. We instead ask to know where he got the original books from. He says he got it from the Lord of the Library in Varrock. We pay another visit to our old friend Reldo. He says the book we're looking for is the Tazar Tourist Guide. He tells us to find a copy around here. We find it and there's a note attached to it. The note tells us how to read numbers, which explains the characters in front of the phonetics on the list the guard gave us. The book is pretty straightforward, telling tourists about the Play Pit and the Play Cave. Disclaimer: the author of this tourist guide takes no responsibility for any mishaps such as death by lava, Tazar guards, other tourists, or highly aggressive Play Cave monsters. Anyway, we get to the useful phrase section and find what we're looking for. Tokzil Im is a pickaxe, and Tokjal Hurt is a plank. The Tazar treat oak planks in a way to make them fire resistant. But there's nothing in here about a Tokket Hurt. We can deduce that because a Tokyit Hurt is a construction metal, and a Tokjal Hurt is a construction wood, and also Tokket is a rock used for construction, that a Tokket Hurt is probably also a rock used for construction. So he wants us to have 1 pickaxe, 20 blocks of stone, and 15 planks. We head back to the guard, who is impressed at our willingness to learn their language. He tells us to go to the mines and learn how to mine the stone we'll need. We head into the mine and ask the ones inside what to do. Tazar Brecht says he'll teach us if we convince the 4 miners in here that theater is good, so they'll act in his play. It's a dramatic tale of a Tazar named Toxket Ek Mak, who is turned against Tazar society. He starts a wave of crime by murdering a human, then stealing from other Tazar, killing more humans, and attacks the Tazar in their own home. We tell him we need to change the plot, and say there'd be more depth if a human started the violence, provoking Mac to defend itself and sparking its thirst for crime. We ask the other miners what they do to improve the play, and they all add small details. We tell Brecht and recommend refining the ending to where the protagonist doesn't win. We need to assign characters to people. We go around the 4 miners and tell them their parts, solving minor issues they have with the characters, and tell Brecht the play is ready. It finally agrees to teach us how to mine the stone. We mine out 4 pieces of stone and carve them into pillars. We head back to Frock, the one we started the quest with, and ask to have our planks treated. We finally head into the crack in the wall and start stabilizing the cave, then mine forward through to the next tunnel. Inside is more cave-ins and a fire monster across a river of lava. We kill it with a water spell and repair all the instabilities and continue. Next room has a lava monster and a fire monster. We kill the lava monster with a bow. We repair this room as well and proceed. We find the trapped workers and ask if they know where the Dill is. It tells us that the Dill's home is in the small cave north of here. First we mine open the cave to the south, leading us back to the start of the quest. We head through to the Dill's cave and mine away at its armor until it breaks, and then we strike it down with our great axe. We return to the guards and complete the quest. 250 quest points and level 76 mining. Quest number 139, Smoking Kills. Down in Paul Nimnich, we speak with a woman named Simona. She tells us her twin sister has been kidnapped by monsters and is held in the town well and asks us to save her. We attempt to jump in the well and we're stopped by Alley Cat. He tells us the well is full of smoke and banshees. How can we protect ourselves from their screams while also filtering out the smoke? He tells us to seek Catolax, a Slayer master who died ages ago. He's buried near the ruins of Ulek. He tells us not to trust redheads, and to bring our cat in somehow gives us the knowledge on how to open Catalax's tomb. We head into the ruins, using the shortcut we made during dealing with Scabarus. We head into a tomb and lay a claws out of our bag. Apparently she noticed Simona has a detest of cats, meaning she's up to no good. We see a bunch of traps to the north and find a small hole in the wall to the west. Leia decides she should check into it. She found a new path. Some skeletons. Easy. We break down an ancient door and proceed on, killing more skeletons, and a mummy breaks out of the center sarcophagus. We kill it, take the key it drops to open a nearby door, and pull a lever. We then go to the opposite side of the dungeon and do the exact same thing, but with magic skeletons. We head down the hallway, and with all the traps now disarmed, we find Catalax. He tells us the Master of the Dead told him of our need, and bestows unto us the methods of combining Slayer masks and earmuffs. Stylish. We take Leia and head into the well. This place did not look this cool when I was here last. We kill a mighty banshee and take its voice. We run through the dungeon and use it on the barrier. We find Jesmona, Simona's sister, being held captive by Scabarites. In the center of the room is a gigantic banshee. It attacks us, and we fight back. and then it calls for the aid of the Scabberites. 5-on-1. We still manage to eventually prevail. Then Jesmona burns a lectern with a book on it and teleports away? Now I'm really confused. We hear Cadillac's voice thanking us for freeing him by killing the Banshee Mistress. He says we thwarted an attempt upon our life by the Scourge of the Desert. A mascot? Fortunately for us, we have a promise of a reward, so we're safe from her vengeance. What? The book she destroyed would grant murderous power over the creatures here, and she did so we couldn't get it. Also, Jesmona and Simona are the same person. Cadillac tells us to meet him after we speak with her. We talk to Simona, who seems incredibly irritated, and promises to work as a Slayer Master for us. And she says she'll show us how to combine more Slayer gear, as well as how to access more areas of the Well Dungeon below. Quest complete. We head back down into the well and speak to Cadillacs. He says Simona is the Devourer. I genuinely didn't know that until this minute. I guess I never did this post-quest part when I was a kid. Her plan was to have us go into the dungeon and die to the Banshees to be rid of us. Alley Cat and Cadillac saved us though, allowing us to thwart her plans. She also has the magic to make us temporarily forget about a mascot while we're talking to Simona. Neat. Anyway, we can go straight into the next mini-quest. Desert Slayer Dungeon. We head to the four corners of the dungeon, slaying the mightiest of Turoth. Does Kuras go... Wait, what? Crap, I didn't account for this in the last episode. We need 70 Slayer, and we don't even get any CLPs for it. 65 Slayer. Ooh, 72 range. Task completed. A very nice 15 points now that we've completed Smoking Kills. Ah, well, skipping tasks just came out, so now we can either skip it using 30 points to save our streak, or reset our streak in Berthorpe. I don't know what's better, but I've decided to skip it. That's better. And a strength level. Task complete. Ooh, Scabberites. Task complete. Water Fiends. 66 Slayer. 67. 73 ranged. Task complete. Calfight. Task complete. Ooh, our first Dust Devil task. 75 attack. Task complete. Bloodveld. 68 Slayer. Completed. Dagonoth task. Wow, just barely did that without dying. Task complete. Warped Terrorbirds again. 76 strength. Completed. 4 Mithril Dragons. That's a neat task. Kill number 1 for Chewed Bones. 12 Death Runes. Easy task completed. Skippity skip. 70 Slayer. That took way longer than I thought it was going to, but it's done. Back to the episode. On to the Basilisk boss. Wait, what? It's still draining our stats? Huh. Well, we got it, but we got a bank. Oh man, we can't teleport. Good thing Jagex exists in the game. Much better. The Karask Overlord, which incidentally is the first Karask we've ever fought. This mini-quest is kind of weird. None of these monsters really have mechanics, and as I was saying that, it spawned some minions that didn't even hit us. The Cave Crawler. I actually think this one looks cool. Cave Crawlers are all about poison, so I brought an anti-poison. We're poisoned and burned. Drink the it nullified the anti-poison and poisoned us again. How strong is the poison? Oh, well that's kind of neat. Mini quest complete. Yar, you be needing a recap. Back in 2005, we helped Captain Braindeath make his infamous rum, with rum in quotations. We used it to help appease some protesters who were put there by someone named Rabid Jack. The captain wouldn't tell us anything about him, and we went on our way. A few months later, we joined the one-man crew of Bill Teach after the rest of his ship hands abandoned him when he had an argument with another captain. This other captain threatened to sink Bill's ship and kill everyone on board. We fearlessly swashbuckled with the scurvy rats and sent him down to the locker, and we hoisted anchor and mostly armless. A safe haven for pirates. A year later, we were besieged by a cloistered sect of Saradominus monks who were attacked by zombies and had their brains put into zombified bodies. We helped them get their bodies back and found it was the work of Rabidjack and his lackeys, who were working to find a way to get a crew of zombies that didn't rot. Quest number 140, Rocking Out. We confront Bill Teach and ask him who Rabidjack is. He says he won't tell us. He tells us to ask the man who killed him, young Ralph. He says they all swore an oath not to tell about this albatross and that butcher. Young Ralph is locked in the customs and excise prison off of Karamja. Apparently that's where pirates go if they're caught, and they never get out. He recommends we get arrested in the customs office in Remington. When we get to the office, we notice a notice board. The Reavers sank the Gnome's Promise and boarded the Saucy Winch off Port Khazard. I assume the latter two are pirate ships. We go inside and wake up the sergeant. We tell him we were on board the Saucy Winch and outran the Reaver. We get arrested and taken to the prison island. The cruel, heavy-handed Harry locks us in the tiniest cell on the rock. Drafty in here. He doesn't care about the hole because the water is infested with sharks, crabs, mogres, and piranhas. Also, he orders us not to escape. We see young Ralph in the cell next to ours. We shout to him, but he doesn't acknowledge us. The guard says he's deaf. We pick up the tin cup in our cell, clang it on the bars, and tell Harry we're hungry. He gets angry and throws the stew on his customs officer, but it goes through him and hits our face. It makes our clothes all fishy. We take a pipe from the wall here and then shout to Harry and tell him we would like to write down our confession. He gives us an ink and quill and a piece of paper. We search the rubble outside to find an accordion. We dump the ink into the paper, smash the bottle on a rock, use the bottle to cut a hole in the accordion, put the pipe inside the hole, and then put the wad of inky paper in the pipe. We take our contraption and place our fishy shirt on a rock, and a gold perches on it. We shoot it with the wad of paper, then suck it into the pipe. We stick it through the bars, getting young Ralph's attention. We tell him we want to know who Rabid is. He asks if we have the captain's marks. He says that when they sunk the albatross, the captains involved swore to never tell and let Ralph be responsible for keeping the secret. The captains won't tell, but Ralph will if all of them mark us as a true pirate. He says the captains we need to speak with are Braindeath, Izzy Nobeard, Bill Teach, Brass Hand Harry, and One-Eyed Hector. We tell him Hector's dead. Frank, his first mate, will work. We head out to the pier and dive into the waters. We land on the shore by a gnome glider. We make our way to Braindeath Island, and Captain Braindeath says he'll give us a mark if we do something for him first. We have to get the barman and the rusty anchor to sell his rum, but he's on record saying he'd rather eat a sack of gravel than stock the stuff. He also gives us some wigs and disguises. We head into the pub and ask for some rum. The whole bar goes silent, and he asks if Braindeath put us up to this. We tell him we just like it. He says there's no way he's going to order it just for one person at the prices Braindeath charges for it, but 5 people wanting it would do. We get him drunk by ordering beer for ourselves and ordering one for him too, 5 times. We go outside, put on a wig, and come back in asking for rum. We repeat this with all 5 disguises and then ask him if he'll order some. He gives us an order note for a shipment of rum. Before heading back, we talk to Redbeard Frank outside. He asks for proof that Rabid is back. We tell him about the attack on Harmony Island and say we'll get a letter from the monks. We talk to Brother Tranquility, but he admits he never actually got proof that Rabid was involved, so he can't include that in his letter in good conscience. We give it to Frank, and of course he says it's not good enough proof. We ask if Captain Donnie's testimony would work, and he says yes. We head back to Braindeath Island, and Captain Braindeath gives us his mark. We go down to Captain Donnie and ask for our orders, pretending to be one of his zombie crew. He gives us orders, but the bottom half of the paper is unreadable. However, he did trip and accidentally carve them on 50% Luke's leg. We go to Luke and rub his leg with the paper and charcoal. He's obviously offended, but it's okay because we tripped and we have hydroendocardiospondylitis syndrome. We take the orders back to Redbeard and he gives us his mark. We go back to Bill Teach. He says for his mark, we have to get the idol of many heads from a pirate named 50 Ships Mufasa. He also gives us a letter of introduction to give to Brass Hand Harry. We find Harry in the bar next door and give him the letter. He says he can't sign anything with his hand. He instead usually just prints his whole hand, but he doesn't want to ruin the only good one he has right now. He says he has a bunch of old broken hands that we can cobble together if we're handy with a hammer. We take them apart and make him another good hand, which he uses to stamp our paper. We talk to 50 Ships Mufasa and ask to see the idol. He says only his crew can see it. We join his crew and he tells us it's off the northeastern coast of Dragontooth Island. We travel to Dragontooth Island and dive in using our diving gear. We find a sunken ship and a Kyram Thulu nearby has a key stuck in one of its tentacles. We take it and board the ship, opening a locked chest with the key, getting a crowbar. We use it to clear the mess away from a pile and find the idol. We give it to Bill and he gives us his mark and a wish of luck. We head to Brimhaven and speak to Captain Izzy Nobeard. He says in return for his mark we'll need to head back to prison and get the brooch of Wanda the Fish, a pirate who died in the prison. He tells us there's a set of lockpicks in the cell we were put in. We head back to the customs sergeant and get sent back to prison. We find the luck pick, break out, kill an officer, put on their clothes, head up to the evidence, and find Wanda's file and take the brooch. We take it to Izzy and he gives us the final mark. We take the marks back to the customs sergeant and ask for a file we can put a confession into. He gives us one and we put all the marks into it and he takes us back to prison. We break out, kill the customs officer and take her clothes again, then find the file and evidence. We give all the marks to young Ralph. He tells us Rabid Jack was the captain of the Scourge. He wanted to take over Mostly Harmless, but he was repelled. He renamed his ship to the Albatross, promising a curse upon all the pirates. He plagued the seas, killing, stealing, and pirating anything he came across. The customs office wouldn't stop him, so the 5 captains and their crew did. They cornered him south of Harmony Island, at the Cursed Archipelago, filled with terrors.
Repel! Repel them, you useless sons of swine! Drive them bilge drinking swabs over the rail! Blast your lazy hides!
Captain, they've taken the hold! The bomber has been burning stern to stern! Yon inebriated be scuttled and the hangman be dead in the water.
Useless! These lily-livered wastrels are nothing to me. Nothing!
You're dead, Jack.
No, Lizzie, get back.
Dead? Dead, you say? We'll see who dies this day, you filthy wretches. On your feet, filth. Mr. Giles, flog that man for not fighting.
But Captain, he's dead.
Flog him anyway. Flog him till his back be worn away or the lash breaks. Live or dead, I will not be defied by these lackluster sluggards. I'm Rabid Jack, by God. I will be obeyed.
You're a monster, Jack, and you'll never see the sunset.
Young Ralph manned the cannon and got sights on Rabid Jack. Brass Hand Harry ordered him to fire. Look out, Captain!
Giles! Giles!
He's dead, you butcher. Give it up. Mallard will take your surrender, but I won't.
Surrender? Surrender, you say? I'll not surrender to the likes of ye.
Stay where you are, Jack.
What's all this talk of dead and finished? Don't you know me? The sea knows me, and I've given lives aplenty to her. She'll not let me die now, or ever. Mark this, and mark it well. Ye might break my body, but my will is a feast, and it'll choke ye yet. I will be the albatross around your necks, the curse upon your lips. You're all dead, all of ye, and it'll be me that makes ye lie down and accept it.
After that, his crew continued fighting as if he were still rallying them. The 5 captains had all Rabid Jack's crew killed and swore to never speak of it again. Quest complete. Yar, scallywags, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, consider joining me crew by plundering that subscribe button. We set sail to the wilderness in the next full episode. See you there!